What's up, everybody? Watching On Air with Nick Driver podcast. Hope you guys having a great day today. Hey, we got Pam Ross today on today's show. And, she is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful singer-songwriter. Pam, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
That's what's up. Hey, congratulations. You recently won a Josie Award, right?
I did, yes. Sunday.
Tell me about it.
It was held at the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow.
And it was a sold-out show. It was incredible. And yes, I won Best Artist in the multi-genre category.
Nice, man.
I write in all different genres.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it was amazing, walking up there in that stage that so many iconic people have been on. And I was just like shocked. I walked around backstage for a while, just kind of holding it and just walking around like, what just happened?
It's a big accomplishment.
It was amazing.
Congratulations to you. So
thank you.
That's a lot of work, a lot of time goes into that. And, when it comes to, you said the multi-genre, the whole idea of that is, I would argue this, and you let me know what you think. I'm a songwriter myself. You kind of write, if a song is good enough, I think it translates to different genres. But it has to be, I think it has to be written a little bit different, I think, than, you might disagree with me on this, but I think it has to be written a little bit different than something that specifically goes to country, for example, or something specifically going to pop. And I would just say the only reason I would say that, it really has to do with who is listening to it and what that listener is actually taking it in as being authentic, as opposed to what someone might be thinking about if they're a pop fan, country fan, or hip hop fan. What do you think about that?
Yeah, like when I'm writing, some songs you can hear they definitely might lean country. Some might lean more rock. Some might lean pop. Some you're just kind of scratching your head because there's all of it just thrown in there. For the most part, it's really probably the most asked question I get is, what do you consider your music? What genre are you? Oh, my cat says hi, by the way.
Hey, that's what's up, man. What's up, cat?
Hey, hi, Jungle Cat. Yeah, so I get asked that a lot. What do you consider yourself? And I'm like, it's Pam music. It's everything. I listen to everything. It's not an intentional thing. I just listen to all these different styles of music. So when I write, it just comes out like that.
Right.
And, it's funny. At the beginning of the month, I was meeting with this music publisher. He was listening to one of the songs on my next album. I think it's going to be the last song that comes out, so you won't hear it for a while. Okay. It's called Say It Two Times. And I'd say it leans more country, but the guitar work in it, it's a kicking guitar work. And he's like, I don't know if this guitar solo fits. You might need to just you need to choose a lane. And I'm like, no, I don't. And like 3 weeks later, I win this award for multi-genre.
Yeah.
So no, I don't have to choose a lane, and no, I won't.
Yeah, and I think that's beautiful, though. I think that's beautiful, Pam, because okay, me, for example, I love folk stuff, but I'm a big hip hop fan, and I love like these big raging guitar solos.
Yeah.
So and I think at this point in time, especially in 2024, it's a lot different than it used to be. Because I started playing, I started playing shows out late 90s, something like that. So a lot of stuff's changed over time with the industry and just the way people get music and are presenting music these days.
Yeah.
What I think when you're writing something and are you thinking, I want to write something that is something that could be considered maybe a multi-genre type song, or are you just writing something? Do you have something in your mind that goes, I'm writing a country song, or I'm writing something that I feel like could be pushed to multiple type genres like that? What do you think?
It just I just start kind of banging on the guitar or the keyboard, and I can tell sort of which direction more it might be leaning. But I just kind of roll with it. And lyrically, you know, country's different than rock. Country, they want things very specific. You know, within the first verse, they want to know where they are, what's going on.
And you're talking lyrically, right?
Lyrically, yeah. It's very image driven. And rock, it can be more vague. You know, like people like to fill in the colors themselves. And, you know, but I do pay attention to that if I know which direction the song's going. If I'm like, okay, this song is more country, I really try to narrow in on that imagery. And if I'm doing something, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a rock song. I know I have a little more freedom with what I do with the lyrics. But I do like to put a lot of imagery in places anyways, you know, people to get that mental picture.
Who's some of your actual, a lot of my influences have a tendency to change over the years. But I do have a couple that I've carried with me my whole time as being a musician. Do you have any, what's some of your influences in different genres that you've carried with you throughout the successful run you've had when it comes to songwriting?
There's a ton of them. Elton John, one of my earliest. Elton John, Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, Van Halen, Springsteen, Pink Floyd, Metallica, Foo Fighters, Nirvana, REM, The Pretenders. I mean, really, I mean, it really stretches everywhere. I like everything from classic country to classic rock to heavy metal to folk, you name it.
You have a your new album. You got a new album coming out. You've put a single out over the last couple weeks, Double Wide.
Yes.
And you have a new album coming, right?
Yeah. I released one song.
Tell us a little bit about that album.
It's going to be like the first one in the sense that you're going to hear a lot of different genres going on. You know, you don't know what's coming next. You're listening to a song. Oh, this is kind of country. The next one's going to be like rock. And I've got one that's like a pop rock song, like something the Chili Peppers might have done. So, you know, it's going to be all over the place. And I got this one. I did record this one in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Okay.
But for the mixing and mastering, I went up to Nashville to Mark Frigo. And he just did a fantastic job. He reached out to me after while I was releasing songs from my first album. And I vetted him out. And he lives in Nashville, and he's worked for a lot of different record labels. And he's mixed and mastered for some of the biggest names, Willie, Dolly, just to name two. And I can go on with the list.
Yeah.
And he branched out on his own and decided to work on his own. And he just did an amazing job with mixing. And I just think it sounds a lot smoother, more polished. There's 7 songs on it, and I'll be releasing one song every 2 to 3 months. Just kind of roll with it in there. There is a video for Double Wide that you can check out on YouTube. Pam Ross.
We'll put the link to Double Wide in the description so people can check that out.
Cool. Yeah. And it's all Pam Ross music. I don't come up with like cool different names for for Instagram and all this guys. Like, no, I kept it simple.
That's what's up, man. Hey, yo, Pam Ross. That's what's up, man.
That's
I like it.
That's
straight to the point. I like it. You know, Pam. The only thing I would have done different. Anytime you're in something a very long time, you can look back and go, oh, well, it ain't the only thing I would have done different. There's a lot of things I would have done different. But one thing I would have done different would be, I think if I came out in 2024, I definitely would not have gone by my government name. That's the only thing. You know, I'd have been called something else. You know.
So. Well, what it's worth, Ross is my maiden name. It's not my legal name. So there you go.
It's kind of your government name.
kind of.
So I want to ask you some questions. We'll have a little fun here, man. So I got a couple.
Right.
Now you being a huge music fan like myself, we're gonna have some fun. Here. So you gotta pick one. Who wins this battle? You ready, Pam?
Let's do it.
All right. Bass player, these two guys are standing right in front of each other, and they're going to base off. They're going to base off until one of them wins, one of them loses.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
All right.
Flea versus Les Claypool.
Flea.
Flea's nasty.
I love the Chili Peppers. I mean, he's the backbone of that whole vibe they got going on. He really is, in my opinion, anyways.
Yeah. Did you ever see any of the stuff where Les Claypool actually tried out for Metallica?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you would get a kick out of this stuff. If you had time, you get bored one day, he actually showed up to one of the Metallica practices, and they're like, "Yo, man, no, bro, you need to get, But I always thought it was a pretty cool story. I met anytime I'm with anybody that's a more advanced, player like yourself. That's the story I always like. I remember somebody told me about it, and I just share that because imagine being Metallica and Les Claypool walks in and just starts ripping,
Right.
Okay, so production. All right. Are you going to go with Pam gets this producer for her next single? You going to go with Rick Rubin, or are you going with Kanye West?
Rick Rubin. As soon as you said Rick Rubin, if you didn't say that name, I was going to put that name in anyways. I was going to say it's going to be Rick Rubin. No, it would not be Kanye West. It would definitely be Rick Rubin.
That's what's up.
And he's
All
like,
right.
that'd be like a dream of mine. Freaking Rick Rubin producing my music. Are you kidding?
Yeah, that would be crazy. That'd be crazy. I still go back and listen to some of the Beastie Boys records here and there.
Uh-huh.
And he did a lot of those records too. And Rick Rubin is really like
he's done everything.
And he's humble. It's cool. It's cool because he's humble. It's like he done a bunch of Jay-Z stuff. He's done everything. He's done everything. So who's got the better voice, Pam? Who's got the better voice? Dolly Parton versus Reba.
Oh man, that's
a hard one.
Oh, that's a really, really tough one. I don't know. I'm trying to hear their vocal range in my head right now. I'm more of a Dolly fan. I love Reba. Don't get me wrong. I do. But I'm more of a Dolly fan. My mom was listening to that before I could walk. So she's like kind of ingrained in me. So I'm just going to say Dolly. But that's a tough one.
It's a good one.
It is.
It's a good one. All right. You're on an island, and you can only have one of these artists listen to throughout their entire catalog, right? Is it going to be Conway Twitty or David Allan Coe?
David Allan Coe.
Yeah. He's got a crazy catalog.
Yeah.
Just when it comes to being prolific, and you're a big time writer too. How many songs you think you've written in your lifetime?
Oh.
That you're like not the ones that you're like, yo, this is trash, but the ones that you were like, I really love this, or maybe you don't love it now, but you're like, this is good enough for me to put out, and I would be okay with people listening to that.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
I've been writing a long time.
Yeah. That's awesome. What's your writing process like?
It has changed over time. It's there's nothing set. I'd like to say there's something set, like a song I just finished up. I was on my way to practice with my band, and the chorus popped into my head. And so I grabbed my phone, and I'm like singing the chorus into my phone. And then, the next day I start writing the song. Sometimes I'm sitting down and I'm just like strumming along, and I come up with some chord progressions. I'm like, hey, this is cool. And, there's a song on my first album called You Don't Know My Name. That's exactly how that song came up. I just started banging out that chord progression down the neck, and there it was. So it's, and I used to, when I was younger, I would have a song written in like 30 minutes. Yeah. Now that almost never, ever happens, because I'm thinking more lyrically and putting together the imagery and making the lyrics a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I've learned from working a lot with songwriters in Nashville. And so it's not unusual for me to write half a song and say, okay, I'm going to come back to this tomorrow and write it, record it, and then go back and rewrite it again and change things up.
Yeah.
And, always fidgeting with it until I'm like, all right, this is where I want it.
I used to write a lot faster than I do now. But it's different. The last album I did, I put it out last year, and I was listening to like ELO, like Electric Light Orchestra.
Oh yeah,
and,
I love them.
Yeah, I was listening to like just different type Blue Eye Soul type stuff too, and I was listening to, I just like different sounds. I'm a big Rage Against the Machine fan, so I like the guitars being crazy sometimes. But I think sometimes me being an acoustic singer-songwriter, sometimes, especially if you write a bunch of albums, you can easily fall into that trope of acoustic vocal, and even though songs are different, they have different chord progressions and stuff. Sometimes they can come across as sounding the same.
They sound the same. I hear that a lot, and I think that's one of the biggest pitfalls for songwriters. I hear that out a lot with songwriters. They play a song and I'm like, oh, that was a good song. And then listen to the next song and I'm like, this is sounding a lot like the first song. And then the third song comes along.
Jack Johnson syndrome, man.
Yeah, it's
He's great, but he found one song that works and did the crap out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same tempo and the chord changes. It might be a few chord change differences, but they're still sticking to your basic, they're just playing G up here instead of like finding a new way to play G up here or D at the neck to make it versified. And the topics kind of be the same. And it's all kind of right here, just that there's not a real fast song and then a slow song and a mid-tempo. There's nothing that's not this. And that's something I'm very cognizant about when I'm writing.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm putting together an album.
Yeah.
The last thing I want is to have they listen to one song and it's like, okay, didn't I just kind of hear this? I want you to not know what's coming. When you hear that, it's like, oh, this is nothing like the last song I just heard. And even on my set list, when I play out live, I really watch that. I look to do that.
That's good. That's good. I mean, that's legit. You ever what are your, I'm not going to say if you ever have, because all of us have. What do you do when it comes to getting writer's block? Like, what are some things like, and sometimes I think people think writer's block is writer's block, but they don't have writer's block. I want to know your take, you being a prolific songwriter that has done so many songs and been, won a bunch of awards and all these things. What's your take on writer's block and stuff? Is that something you get frustrated with?
Just write. I try to listen to a lot of different music. And write. And I may write, I'm like, okay, this song is crap. I'll still finish it. To me, writing is like running. I'm a big runner. And if I stop running for a couple weeks because of an injury or something, when I go back, my lungs aren't as strong. My legs aren't as strong. I have to get back. Writing is like that for me. If I stop for some specific reason, I'm too busy, I can't get to it, or whatever. When I go to sit down and do it, it's like, oh man, I've got to get back into it. So I try to write once a week, at least once a week.
Right.
Try and write a song, and they're all not going to be good. You're not going to want to play them all out, but you're still writing, and you're keeping that moving. And for me, the more I write, the more good songs I get.
Right.
Because I'm keeping you're producing more songs. So the more songs you produce, the more you have to choose from. Plus, it's just, it just keeps things rolling, for me. So
it's kind of like what you're saying. What you're saying is, I agree 100% with that. The idea of if you keep doing something, you stay kind of in shape to do those things.
Yes.
And it's kind of like if you don't write, sometimes I find myself doing stuff like I'll play shows and then I'm like, I'm not really doing the stuff that, okay, when you become like a you start making money playing music, right? Which sounds ridiculous in nature because none of us start playing music to make money, right?
Yeah, you just want to play. You want to get out there, you want to be on stage,
and then you start playing shows out, and they're like, well, if you do these covers, or if you do this, and this, you can play at this club, this club, this club. You start almost becoming a CEO of whatever you want to legitimately do, but it really gets to a point, and this could be something me and you could talk about another day, but it can get frustrating playing out shows. It can get frustrating, especially bar gigs. But I enjoy doing it. But at the same time, there's just a lot of stuff as you get older, or at least as I've gotten older, and I used to be like a really rowdy, rambunctious person. And as I've gotten older, he said, no, I don't see it. But as I got older, I kind of like don't like leaving my house unless I'm playing shows. I would rather like just chill and but when you're out 4 or 5 times a week and you're in those environments to where everybody's right here in your face, I like drinking too, you know what I'm saying? But there's a certain level people get to sometimes.
Yeah.
And Pam, something tells me you know a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And then if you're drinking a little bit, you like, yo, get out of my face. So it's like, it's just, it's crazy, but have you got any stories to where like you wild out on somebody on stage?
No, no, I've always,
Pam, someone tells me you, tells me you wild out on somebody, man.
No, I'm trying to think if I have, but, I don't think I have. I know I was putting on a songwriter showcase one time for the North Carolina Songwriters Co-op, and I wasn't playing in that particular one, but I was, I had booked the people and I was there, and there was going to be another show afterwards, and I guess this guy was going to be in that show, and they're singing, and he takes out his guitar and he starts tuning. Like loudly, people could hear it. So, I had to go and have a little talk with him. But
was he doing it while somebody else was playing?
Yeah. And it's an acoustic environment. Like you can hear him. So I was like, you can't do this. He's like, well, I got you. And I'm like, I got it through to him. He is outside.
Pam, that's actually, you know what? You just mentioned something really great. Etiquette. Songwriter etiquette, especially when you're in an environment where people are all together like that, or okay, I used to play the Bluebird sometimes, so you're in like this circle.
Oh, you played the Bluebird?
Yeah,
I love that place. Oh my God, the Bluebird.
Oh man, that place is legendary, crazy. I got so nervous. I don't get nervous doing a whole lot, but
the Bluebird makes you nervous. Everybody says that. I agree.
It makes you nervous. It makes you nervous
about that place. Yes.
It makes you nervous, but it should because it's like when you have songwriters like me and you, and you're going in there, and a lot of times you spend a lot of time alone, trying to craft your style, trying to make your voice sound as good as you possibly can, and then when you get to a point where you're playing the Bluebird, you're like, I don't want to mess up. So
yeah.
So, well, Pam, I really appreciate you coming on today. Pam has got a amazing single out right now called Double Wide. She's got a new album coming called Outside the Box. Pam, any closing things you want to say?
My next single is called Kansas. It'll be out in November 15th. And I'm playing shows all weekend long. One of the shows I'm playing is a hurricane benefit at the port.
You mind letting us know where you're playing at?
Yeah, Friday night. It's going to be the first show with my full band at Bond Brothers East Side. We're opening for Harold and the Herd, so we go on at 7:30.
Is that Raleigh? Is that Raleigh?
That's Cary.
Cary. Okay, sorry.
Yep. We go on at 7:30. We play till 8:10, so don't be late or you miss it. Sunday, I'm doing a hurricane benefit at the Portal in Raleigh.
Nice.
And it's a lot of different songwriters from 2 to 6 o'clock. All proceeds go to help hurricane victims. You can make it out to that. And I'll be at the Durham Coho Saturday night. And all these shows, of course, will be original music. I don't like to go out and play covers. I don't do the cover show thing anymore.
Good for you.
I'd rather be sitting on the couch drinking a beer than out playing Skinner for a bunch of drunk people at a brewery. I'm not doing that anymore.
It's different. It's just, and on top of that, man, I don't take hardly as many of those anymore as I used to, unless the money's really, really good. Mm-hmm. It zaps your soul of all creativity. Yeah. It completely and utterly, when you go out and you start being a cover artist, there's a part of you after a certain amount of time, it just drains your creativity. It makes you a shell of a person, man. And I know people can get on ass about that, but that is what it is. I was learning
my own songs. I couldn't remember how to do my own songs. That's when I went, that's it. I'm not writing. I'm forgetting my own songs because I'm learning everyone else's songs. There's nothing wrong with being a cover band. I have friends who do it and they're good, and I totally support them. But for me as a songwriter, it brought me down.
Facts.
And it just made me actually, when you're driving to a show going,
makes you angry. Makes you angry.
Then it's time, you know what? You don't need to be doing that. I love going to the shows where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be playing my songs tonight. Yeah. People are paying to come see me do Pam music. This is fun.
Yeah.
And, that's for me where the enjoyment is. So I'd rather play less shows that I enjoy than playing out 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Making, probably more money. To me, it's just not.
It's a trade-off. It's a trade-off, Pam.
Yeah.
You make more money, but you give up the opportunity to play your own songs that you actually love. It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
So, but Pam, I do want to tell you, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on here, and anytime you want to come back on, I absolutely love talking to you. You've been one of my favorite guests I've talked to in a very long time, and I hope you have yourself a blessed night, and I hope your album goes quadruple 16 platinum. So,
well, you and me both.
All right, you have a great night, Pam. It was a pleasure.
Too, Nick. Thank you so much for having me on.
You got it.
Bye.